This is Kai, and you're listening to Ambiance Podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ambiance Podcast. Sitting to the right of me, I have world-renowned street artist Kai. Kai,
Hey.
how you doing, man?
Good, and you? Thank you for the good intro. It makes me feel good.
No, thank you for first off inviting me into your art studio here. There's a lot going on. Do you think it's kind of like a depiction of how your mind is, like how it's set up in here?
Yes and no. It is because it's messy and chaotic. That's how my mind is. But things are finished in the studio, and in my mind, they're not necessarily finished. I'm still working through it.
That's an interesting outlook on it.
They're like little trophies of things that I've finally had the time to finish and accomplish.
But you feel like it's nearly not ever like complete?
In my mind, it's never complete. In my mind, I can go forever. There's a famous quote from Picasso, I believe. It's you never really finish a painting, you just give up on it.
Wow. That's dope. So for those listeners and viewers out there who don't know who Kai is, how would you explain what you do, your style of art, and maybe just like a little background about you?
So to kind of explain who and what I am, I'm a street artist that's been blessed and fortunate enough to cross over into the fine art industry. And a lot of people know me for murals or street art takeovers, but they might also know me for my more fine art work. And most notably, they'll know me for the character I draw or paint or sculpt in all my works. My imaginary friend, we call him If.
Okay.
And a lot of people we found over time they connect with If a lot. So
What came up with the concept of If? I was reading on your website how it's just like it has no ethnicity, it has no color, it has no race.
So the concept behind If was all my work before If was based on language, based on English, based on how we can use words to make an interesting commentary.
Okay.
And I went to study in Paris. While studying in Paris, I realized no one understands English because they're French.
Yeah. What year was that when you went to
I
study
was
Paris?
there in like 2011, 12. So 8 years ago.
Okay.
And while I was there, I told myself I need to find a way to communicate with people from all different places that speak all different kinds of languages. And I realized that using a single frame, we could do that. Using like a single screenshot of a moment, I could speak to many people.
Right.
But when I was creating my character, I didn't want to include or exclude anybody. So if I gave it curly hair, people with curly hair would identify with it. But then people with straight hair wouldn't. If I gave it a big nose, people with big noses would be like, "Oh, it's me." But people with small noses would be like, "Oh, I'm not a part of it." Brown hair compared to blonde hair, like all of that became a big issue. And luckily one day I was in an airport and I had to go to the bathroom, and I was trying to find my way to the bathroom, and I would follow the symbol. And when I got to the bathroom, I realized there was thousands of different kinds of people that came to this bathroom every day that don't all know how to read the word restroom or bathroom. So I said, I'm going to take that figure and give it a soul.
Because when everybody goes, they know that figure means bathroom at least.
Or they means person or people.
Okay, yeah.
Or man and woman. So I'm like, I'm going to give that figure a soul, because to the world, that's a universal symbol for male or man or human. So that's what I did. I gave that figure a soul, and it kind of became my identity today.
Wow, and it seems like you've taken on that identity because a lot of people listening that do know who you are know that you don't reveal your identity. So is that you kind of taking on the persona of If?
Yes and no. The idea behind not really revealing my identity lies more in two different things. One, a lot of the street art and graffiti and all the stuff I was doing early on in my career was very illegal, and I don't want to get tied up for any of it. Two, being a street artist and looking up to street artists all around the world, you never really know how they did it or who they knew to get there or how it happened. And the idea behind hiding my persona is to give everyone hope. I did it. but you don't know what I look like. You don't know where I came from, who I am. So that gives you hope that you can do it too. You don't know if I had someone help me out, or if you don't know the story, and by not knowing the story, it gives you hope that you can do that you can accomplish the same thing or more.
Okay. Yeah, that's I think it's super noble of the fact that like you don't even want to show your identity, because in today's day and age with like social media, everybody's trying to flex on everybody. For you not to want to take credit on all this amazing art that you have is pretty amazing, man. Because
thank you, man.
A lot of people would want to take credit for this, and I think it speaks to like the type of person you probably are too, right?
I don't know. You could ask my friends, but I don't know if I'm a cool. I just know that. To me, it's more about the art and the message of the art than it is about me. And it's always been like that for me. It's always been about how I can help people, how I can make people feel a little bit of happiness or get a little clarity on a situation in their life, more than it was, hey, let's make me famous.
Yeah.
So now that we're on a different level, I'm still that way. I still think it's more about the art. I still think it's more about giving people a little something to make them happy during a bad day, or a little guidance during a rough time. And it isn't about me. So
right.
So why put myself in the forefront? I don't need to be.
Man, that's great. I can't even like describe like how your art must feel to like people who see it like that too, you know?
It's crazy. Sometimes people get tattoos, or they'll DM me and they'll tell me your art changed my day, or I'm quitting my job because I saw one of your pieces and I'm going to go do what I love. And it's crazy to know that something that was in my brain and put on paper, then my whole team helped me build, could really affect someone.
Yeah.
Even if it's for the bad, I always say, like, if I'm affecting someone positive or negative, even though I don't want to ever be affecting anyone negatively, the fact that us as people can do that is a crazy thing. That
True.
Someone who isn't on the inside of their life can affect them so greatly really is, like, to me, it's a phenomenon.
Yeah. What does that mean to you? Like for that somebody, because not many people experience something like that.
It motivates me. Even like last week, I've been going through a rough patch at work, and it's funny that I call this work, but
I mean, it is. You got an operation over here. You got people.
Yeah, but it's my dream. So it's been rough. The beginning of the year, it's usually always harder than the end of the year. We just had our big show. We just had our grand finale of the year, and coming back into it, it's always like, it's like an engine. You got to warm it up. You got to get everyone kind of rolling again. And sometimes, like, I don't want to come in. Sometimes I want to stay in bed or rest, or, you know, not be out of bed at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning and checking emails. And
yeah.
But knowing that it affects people, knowing that it makes people happy, and knowing that it really helps people is what motivates me. It's what gets me into the studio at 7 o'clock in the morning, checking my email at 6 a.m., checking on everything until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm constantly thinking about it. I'm constantly working on it. And I always want to make it the best. Like, I'm never going to take a shortcut. I'm never going to cut an angle. If it means we're going to delay something or push it back, or I'm going to do that to make sure I put the best thing out there.
Yeah, and it seems like you have like a different type of responsibility because it affects so many people. Like,
I feel like there's a responsibility. I think there's a responsibility to stay true to helping people, and there's a responsibility to stay true to who I am as a person. And then there's also a responsibility that I know that there's certain topics that I should be able to talk about, or I should talk about, and that I should force myself to talk about.
Right.
Like, a big one for me that I haven't done and I've been working on is global warming. It's something that affects me a lot, that I think about a lot. I talk to my friends a lot, but I've never really made art about it.
Okay.
So now I've been pushing myself and forcing myself to sit down and sketch and to think about global warming and how I can make a positive message or an impactful message about that from my point of view.
Okay.
So, like, that's me forcing myself on a subject that doesn't come naturally to me. And I feel like that's a responsibility I have.
Has your art always been like that? Because I know you, prior to If, you had like Lost Value, and you had I'm blanking on what it was called, but it was the cigarette
Morons.
Morons. Yeah. Do you think your art is like signifying what you're going through at that time? So this next step is gonna be the global warming.
No, I think that yes and no. I always try and make a little commentary on society as a whole. It's not necessarily what I'm going through, but what us as a society, us as a generation is going through. So global warming is a big thing happening today.
Right.
It's a big thing that we tend to like kind of forget about or not really think about. And not necessarily just global warming, just the way we treat our environment. Even if you don't believe in global warming, that's okay. But the fact that we tore down Madagascar for cattle farms, it's crazy.
It's wild.
So that's something I want to communicate. Like, hey guys, we need to wake up. Just like I did with Morons. Morons was me trying to get people to wake up and quit smoking. Like, guys, we know smoking is bad for you. Why are we smoking?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do with my work. I'm always trying to kind of like a little cuckoo, like a little hello, like like your mom, like, did you take your sweater with you?
But you're doing it to society.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it to like a larger audience. And sometimes my personal things do get in the mix, but I try and always keep it pretty general.
Okay. What talk a little bit about like the early stages of your art career, because people see all this shine you have right now. Like, they see everything that's happening for you right now, but they don't necessarily see the struggles that you went through in the beginning. What kind of struggles did you go through when you were first getting started? So
there's, just so people get a little idea, even when there's shine, there's not necessarily shine in the background.
Yeah,
so
you still be going through struggles right now.
So as an artist, there's always going to be struggles because it's not a Fortune 500 company.
Right.
And in the beginning, there was no money. There was no anything. I was sleeping on people's couches, getting by how I could. There was nothing. What happened when I started to make a little money is I started to invest it back in my work. And I started to invest in tools and materials that could help me grow as an artist. And I think for me, that was the right move because I was really passionate about being an artist. I was really passionate about doing this forever.
Right.
So to not buy a pair of Jordans or to not buy a chain or a fancy watch or a new car wasn't a big deal to me because I was building a foundation that hopefully I could live on forever.
And now that like you're probably at a stage where you could get those things if you want to. We were talking earlier, like you're not into the fancy shoes or whatever. It's like you don't even want that stuff, right?
No, I don't. Like I said, like to me, it's all about foundation and growth and helping as many people as you can. So to me, what's more important is how do we grow? What can I do to help my team? How can I make my team feel more at ease? Is there someone that we can bring in to help us grow? Can we reach out to a charity? Can we work on a certain project with someone? So as I grow, to me, that growth is more important than a fancy pair of shoes or a shiny watch or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, it's more about growth and longevity than it is about materialistic items because a pair of shoes wear away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A car wears down, becomes outdated at some point.
Definitely.
So, but what doesn't, like the team you have around you, if you're right and you're kind and you treat them correctly, hopefully they stick around you. The machines, the tools, if you take care of them, they'll help you keep growing. So to me, that's more important.
Right. Okay. When or the level that you're at right now, I mean, like you said, you're always on the go. You're doing things 24/7, no matter what. Like, you're always busy. Do you ever take time to reflect? And if you do, like, what do you do to reflect?
That's a funny one. So, yes and no. Everyone close to me will say, and I don't really take time for myself. For the first time in my entire life, this year I took a vacation.
Oh, wow.
So that was the first time I ever did that. And that was interesting because even on vacation, I worked. Like, I had a sketchbook, and instead of just sketching like freely, I was working on a bunch of different things that I shouldn't have been doing. But that's me, and that's everyone says I'm a workaholic.
Yeah.
But as I think as I go about my day, I kind of find time to relax, if that makes sense.
Like little pockets of time.
Yeah.
Just that
Like lunch. I used to always eat lunch in the studio, and now I make sure I leave for that, like at least an hour, and I go eat and I sit down. If I'm going to eat lunch, sometimes I just skip on it, or little things are like, I'll try and go bowling once in a while, or play basketball, or I have like a thing that every day I get on a stationary bicycle. No matter what time of day it is, I'm going to get on the bicycle.
Okay.
And I ride the bike, and I'll send emails or text, or maybe I'll watch something on YouTube while I'm on the bike, but that's kind of my time to like work through tougher situations or tougher moments, or have a conversation I didn't feel like having. Kind of like I'm working my body out. I'm also working myself through a struggle, or through like the anxiety of taking care of everything.
Right.
So that's kind of how I get my little break.
Your little breaks in.
Yeah.
With that being said, when do you think or feel like it's time to take a step back and reflect?
I think that every day you should do that. So at the end of the day, I kind of, either I'm on the bike or after I'm on the bike, I kind of replay my day and kind of say, okay, I did this correctly. I did this wrong. How can I fix that for tomorrow? What are we doing tomorrow? Kind of have a game plan for the next day. But I haven't ever really taken the time to like pause everything and reflect. I reflect in pockets. Like you said, like I'll take an hour here or 30 minutes here, or you know what I mean? Or I'll have a little meeting with someone and we'll talk about the relationship or what we've been working on together. But that's work. That's not really sitting down and just like, hey, look what we did.
Yeah.
And I think that's a flaw I have, but I think that's also what keeps us going.
Yeah. It's a testament to like how much success and like where you're at right now.
Yeah, I guess it's I guess, but at the same time it wears on you for sure.
Right. What I'm interested to know, like, what does the first 30 minutes of your day look like usually? Like,
so what day of the week are we talking?
oh, it's like that. A Monday. Everyone doesn't like Mondays.
I love Mondays.
You love Mondays?
I love, like, you couldn't choose a better day for me. Monday is the first day my team's back in the studio. So I love it, because that means I've already been planning and working for the last 24 hours. That means now I have a whole team behind me again.
Okay.
Because Sunday, no one's behind me. Sunday, everyone's off. Saturday, everyone's off. So Friday evening to Sunday, it's me, like, we need to work on this. We need to do this. I want to make this new concept. I want to build this out. I see us doing this week. What do you guys see? I want to create that, or we have this mural, and in my head or in my notebooks, I've already kind of scheduled the week, and I know what's going on. So when Monday comes, I can kind of talk to my team members and say, hey, what do you think about this for this week? And they'll give me feedback, and I'm not losing any time. But like, I'll get up on a Monday morning, like 5:30, 6, depending on like what time I went to bed. I jump out of bed like almost immediately. It's
immediately?
like immediately.
You don't like have like 3 alarms and like snooze?
Oh no, I don't even have an alarm.
What? And you get up that early?
Yeah, I get up that early.
The passion wakes you up, or what?
I don't know what it is. It's a sickness maybe.
A sickness.
But I'm up really early. I'm also a super light sleeper, so if any noise that isn't what I'm used to happens, I'll be up. Even movements or people get really freaked out on how I wake up. But
did you feel that earthquake last night?
Yeah.
I thought I was tripping. Like, I checked Google. I was like, what the hell happened?
But it wasn't that bad though.
Nah, it didn't seem like it was just like a little boom boom. And I thought I was tripping though.
It is what it is. But yeah, I get up right away, and then as I walk to the bathroom, I check my texts and email. I always do that because I work with people in Europe and people on the East Coast, and they've already been up for a few hours. So they'll already say, oh, we have a problem with shipping, or what's the tracking number for this artwork, or the client's calling to figure out if you finished this, or this mural mock-up wasn't approved. Can you send us a new mural mock-up? Really early in the morning. I always have like a lot of stuff going on. So I'll check that, brush my teeth, do the little bathroom thing. Then I'll get dressed. I meditate for like 15 minutes before my day starts. And then drive down to the studio, open up the studio, kind of go through emails. Like what I'll do is when I'm going to the bathroom, I'll read all the emails I'll read all my emails, and then I'll mark all the important ones unread.
Okay.
So that when I get into the studio later that day, like later that morning, I can sit at my desktop and I know the important emails are marked unread that I need to get to right away.
Interesting. That's an interesting way to go about it.
Yeah, because I don't need to answer every email.
True.
It's not important. What's important is making sure that the ones that are urgent get answered as quick as possible, because there's other people waiting on it. Like a simple thing is like customs. When an artwork goes through customs, there's certain paperwork, there's certain documentation, questions that custom officers have. Every minute you hold a customs thing up, it can hold up a day or two to get delivered. So you have to be on top of it. Or placing an order for something. Every minute you wait, they can say, oh, you missed our deadline. It'll be 2 days for delivery now instead of 1 day. So little things like that I'm very aware of, because I like everything now.
Right.
If I'm working on something, I need it now. I don't need it tomorrow. I don't need it because I don't know what my day or how hectic it's going to get. So I like to have things done right away. So I'll answer all the important emails early in the morning. And then as the team members kind of float into the studio, I'll kind of do like a little catch up with them and see what they are working on, what they're doing. Usually I have 2 or 3 meetings throughout the day, no matter what. So that'll kind of get me filled up until like 2:30. Then at 2:30 I take my lunch break, which is also my first meal of the day.
Wow. Are you fasting, or does that just happen like that?
It just happens. It's always like that. Like I always end up eating around 2:33. Everyone, all my friends always get upset because I'll be like, they'll text me like, hey, you want to get lunch? I'll be like, yeah, come through. And then they'll wait for me for like an hour and a half. And they'll be like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, bro, let me finish this. Let me do this. Then after lunch, I'll come back. And then it's getting later in the afternoon. It's like 3:30, maybe 3:30. And I know that everyone's going to start heading out soon. So I just kind of recap what they did that day, what we can do tomorrow or the next day to help me out, and what I can do that night so that when they come in the next morning, there's no lag.
Okay.
They can just jump into it. And then
just repeat.
And then I'll be done. I'll leave the studio between 7 and 9 p.m. I'll go home. I'll get on my bike, kind of do my recap myself of the day. I'll cook myself a little dinner. Now you're talking like 10:30, 11.
Wow.
At like 11, I finally sit down. I'll open my laptop again, check my emails one more time, check my text messages. Sometimes I'll do some DMs. It's like really rare, depending on how tired I am.
There's just not enough time in the day.
Oh no, there isn't. Especially when I'm dealing with like fine art, sculptures, paintings, like the hoodies, the toys.
Yeah.
And then we have animation, 3D modeling, video, the photo content, the big deals with like big brands or athletes or actors or singers or rappers, and it goes on forever.
Yeah.
And then like
it's hard to wrap your head around that just listening to it. Like.
Yeah, and it's funny because I always say like people think I'm an artist, but I have to do like a million other things.
Yeah. I feel like, do you feel like art is like the easy part and all the other shit that comes with it is more like the hard part?
So it's funny because I've been having this dilemma lately. I've been doing a lot of everything else, and working on art not as much as I want to. So the hardest part is like switching your mind
to a different gear.
Yeah, it's also like it's a slower gear, and it's a more in your heart gear and my feelings compared to doing the business and all of the other things. So I have a hard time sometimes resetting and getting into the art game or in the art mode
and transitioning
into it. So I'll tell people like I'm trying to transition, leave me alone. Don't ask me any questions. Figure it out. or wait till tomorrow. And people are like, what do you mean? I'm like, I can't keep bouncing into designing and creating and
Yeah.
picking colors and everything, and then jumping out and talking about custom paperwork or how big is the crate, how heavy is the crate. Like, I can't keep bouncing in and out.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm also working on, because as of today, I'm not good at it. As of today, I'll still get a little distracted. I'll still let something bother me, because I know that time is so important. To me, time is like everything, more than money, more than everything. Time and love are my two priorities in life.
That's why I know you have that kind of like series if love versus blank, right?
Yeah.
Love versus whatever it is. So is that kind of like where it comes from too?
Yeah,
Your
because
values?
you don't have enough time for everything.
Yeah.
My dad used to always say, my mom used to always tell me, you can't do everything in a day. You can't. It's not possible.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have a 9 to 5, your dream job, then your hobby, then be with your friends, then be with your loved partner, get enough rest, work out, eat healthy, cook, do your laundry. It's not possible.
Yeah.
You start to cut things out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you work it. If you have a pet on top of that, a dog or something, you know what I mean? That's 2 hours a day. You're taking care of that. So you know you have a finite amount of hours in a day. And you know that minimum you should sleep 6 hours. So now you have 18 hours in the day. Then let's say you eat, right? Let's say you eat twice a day like I do. Take out 2 hours. So now you went from 24 to 18 to 16 hours, right?
Yeah.
Do you go to the bathroom?
You have to go to the bathroom.
Twice a day? Once a day? Twice a day? A few times a day? Take out another hour.
Yeah.
You're at 15 hours. Okay? What can you do in 15 hours?
Priorities.
You got to have a good list of priorities. So you got to start making decisions. Are you going to follow your passion in those 15 hours? Are you going to follow the money? Are you going to do something that's relaxing? Are you going to do something that's super aggressive and ambitious? How many things can you do in 15 hours? So that's how I always think about it.
Wow. That's crazy. Your days are so jam-packed.
Yeah.
Like, full of things to do.
And then if you have like something random that happens, like you get a parking ticket or you get your car towed, or
yeah,
it eats away at your time. So in reality, you have 12 hours.
Because you can't control the uncontrollables.
Yeah,
like,
and there's always uncontrollables, and you gotta accept that, and you gotta be okay with that. And then you have 12 hours, and let's say getting somewhere 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back, you lost another hour. So in reality, to work and get things done, you have about 8 hours. That's how I see it.
yeah.
I could be wrong, but that's how I see it.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Like,
and then in those 8 hours, what are you gonna do?
when you put it like that, it's like even worse than people say you got 24 hours in the day. Really, you're saying you got 8.
Yeah, because you have
That's
to
crazy.
eat, or else you have to sleep a little bit.
Have to.
That's 8 hours out of your day already. Boom. So now you really only have 16 hours.
Yeah.
So what do you do in 16 hours? Oh, you got to drive a couple places. How many hours a day do you think you spend in the car? Like,
Plus, we're in LA. Like,
yeah,
the
you're always in the
traffic.
car. So how many hours do you think you spend in the car? 2 a day? 1 a day?
At least.
So you see, like, everything deducts itself.
Yeah.
And when you start to do it that way, you realize my time is so important. What do I want to spend the most valuable thing that I can never get back on?
Do you ever wish that you can just like do your art and let all the other things like run itself? Do you want to get to that point one day?
Yes, of course. Like, that would be the dream. But at the same time, working with everyone is what helps me keep going. I couldn't do it by myself.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
So most of the people that I do talk to, most of the people that I am spending my day with, are people helping me build what I've built.
Who's your team? You want to give them like a quick shout out?
Yeah, so we have Matthew, who's like the Swiss Army knife.
Jack of all trades.
He can do anything. I can literally walk up to him and say, "Hey, I want to do whatever," and he'll be like, "Okay, give me a couple hours. I'll let you know how we can work on it." So Matthew's like A11. Then you have Ray, who helps me with everything that's Kai edition, so like hoodies, prints, things like that people really want, something I built into my work art practice to make things affordable and attainable. That was really important to me. So Ray helps me manage all of that, because when we get orders, we get 300 orders in a minute. How do you fulfill 300 orders? How do you produce enough for 300 orders? How do you know what I mean? There's so much little nuances that go into that. So Ray helps me stay on top of that.
Like the operations,
the production of it, the shipping of it, the customer service, making sure everyone's happy. There's a lot that goes into it. That's a company. In reality, that could be a company in itself. But I like to supervise and make sure everything's A1, so I take care of it myself.
right?
So that's Ray. Then you have Alex, who's Matthew's assistant, who also is like a kind of like a Swiss Army knife, but not really. He's like a baby Swiss Army knife. He's learning. But he helps Matthew stay on top of everything, because I'll throw stuff at Matthew. I'll be like, let's design this, let's do this, let's do that. And he'll be like, what about all the other projects you want to do? I'm like, yeah, we're still doing them. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you have an assistant now. So Matthew has Alex, and Alex helps with everything, and he's really good at it and really calm and patient. Then you have Julian, who's like my best friend, but also he holds it down for me. So when we have a big mural, or we're doing like we're on the road, or a big project, he'll hold me down first, like as a friend. Like after a long day, I'll have someone to talk to, I'll have someone to be with, and kind of like a bouncing board. But he's also there, like if he knows I have 2 meetings that day and we're on a mural, he'll help me get the mural done. Or if I have to paint 3 murals in one city in 1 week, he'll be like, you sketch it, I'll fill it in. You go sketch the other one, I'll come fill that one in. Then you can come back to this one, do the details, and like he helps me stay on top of like my mural game and my mental health.
Okay.
And then we have B and Delbert, who help me with everything physical. Like anytime when we're working on a painting or everything or anything like that, I'm one of the only studios that makes everything in-house. So we make the chassis, we make our pedestals, we make everything in-house. So
do a lot of artists outsource that type of stuff?
A lot of artists have a tendency to outsource or buy it pre-made, or I have an addiction to having everything done in-house, because I can also, on a click of a button or a spurt of like an emotion, say, we're going to make a big painting, we're going to make a small painting, we're going to make this, we're going to do this. And that's only possible if you have an in-house team.
Right.
So they help me with making canvases, they help me stretch canvases, they help me build pedestals, they help me sand things, they help me work on things so that the studio is still running. Then you have like then you have Mike, who helps me with all like the incoming communication. So when brands reach out, when athletes, movie stars, or I have an idea that needs sponsorship, or we're working on a project with a hotel, or we're working on a big opening or a production, Mike helps me stay on top of my communications, because I have a tendency to be running around so much that I don't check all the time. So then he knows he can get a hold of me, and he'll ask me like 20 questions, like, what are you doing about the museum? What are you doing about the show in London? What are you doing about the podcast? What are you going to do? When can you do this? What day is available for this? Do you have free time for that? Like, and Mike can get a bunch of answers out of me and then dispatch them to everyone.
You need somebody like that, right?
Yeah, it's also hard because sometimes I don't realize, like, I don't check my phone, or I do check my phone, but like when I have 30 text messages, I only get to like the important ones, or like what I deem as important. Like my mom never left unread. I read it every time. I answer as quick as I can. My sisters, those are important people.
You got to put the fam first.
Yeah, so sometimes when I have 30 text messages and I see my mom, my sister, or whatever, I don't pay attention to the work stuff. I'm more about the family.
It takes a village to run this operation.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah. And then you have like accounting, and then you have the galleries, and then you have the lawyer, and then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a big thing.
I can definitely kind of relate to you on that, just as far as it's like with the podcast, like doing this is what I love. Like I love this part of it. It's all the outside stuff that comes with it that, you know, you have to take care of. But if I could just one day just do this, it would just be like ideal. And I'm sure it's the same for you.
Yeah, but I like having like the chaos. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You
like,
do?
A little bit of it. There's some things I wish I didn't have to deal with, but I like dealing with my team. I like talking to my team. I like being busy, and I like that no matter what, I always feel like we're working on something, even though it's not the greatest thing when working on something. So I like it. Yeah, there are certain things like, do I want to like sign checks? No, I don't like signing checks. Well, I don't like signing checks for like a bunch of reasons, but like, do I want to like go through budgets? Never. But do I have to sit down and learn the budget for the month and understand how it's going to work? Yeah, I'm an
Right.
adult.
Yeah.
It's something that's important. And I think even if I do detach myself fully from it, I still will want to keep my eyes on it just for comfort of mind.
Yeah. Respects. Digressing a little bit, I know you recently were at Art Basel, right?
Yeah, Art Basel, yeah.
Art Basel, my bad.
It's okay. Everyone pronounces it differently.
Okay. How was that experience for you?
It was crazy. So we had a lot of activations. We had one at the Intercontinental Hotel in Miami, downtown Miami. We took over the whole hotel.
Wow.
We had an animation playing on the outside whole facade of the whole facade of the hotel had an animation that we designed playing on it. We had every single screen in the lobby with kind of like a retroactive documentary of my years of work. And then we had artwork in there and an opening. We had 2 shows at Art Miami, which is an art fair. We had one with Markovitz Fine Arts and one with Maddox, which is a gallery in London. They both were displaying my work, so we had to go hang and set that up for them and be there for the opening. Then we had an activation with the Art Plug where I designed a motocross motorcycle.
Wow.
And a motocross Olympic gold medalist used my motorcycle to jump over one of my sculptures.
That's
which
crazy.
was really cool.
That's fucking crazy.
And then we had, on the last night of Art Basel, we had my pop-up with Adidas, which was insane. Like, thank you to everyone who came. Thank you everyone who showed up and showed love. We had like a line that went outside and around the block, and it was a 2-hour wait to get in. And people stood there and really like showed respect and showed that they were there to hold me down, and they stood in line for 2 hours to get in.
Damn.
It was crazy. This
That's
year was
love.
crazy. Yeah.
With all the different pieces that you do, what's your like favorite type to do?
I love everything. That's the truth. I love working with concrete. That's my favorite thing to work with.
Okay.
But I love everything. So when you think about that, that's like my favorite thing to do. It's working with everything.
Working with everything. That's a good answer.
And I think that's something, I'm going to just touch on it.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's interesting. Is that not everyone reacts the same way to the same thing. I don't know. Let me like break it down a little bit maybe.
Okay.
When you see a photo and someone who's a photographer sees a photo, you guys react to it differently. When you watch a cartoon, you might love cartoons.
Right.
But someone that your best friend might say, I don't like cartoons, I like real movies. So I produce cartoons for people who love cartoons, and I'm trying to speak to them and spread a message through a cartoon. I produce videos on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, all the other formats, actual filmed videos and edited videos to speak and convey the same message or a different message through video. And I use 2D paintings, which are like artworks that you hang on a wall, like canvases and my work, to convey either the same message or a different message through that. And then I use 3D sculpture to do that again. And my idea is to keep spreading love, positivity, or these little screenshots of life through as many mediums as possible to touch and affect as many people as possible.
Wow. Okay. That makes sense, because I might get more out of it if I see it visually through video,
Right,
like you said,
yeah.
than like just a stagnant
Yeah.
image of it, right?
Or you might get more out of it because you like podcasts if I did a podcast, or you might get more out of it if you bump into a sculpture and you're like, whoa, it's crazy.
That's true.
But then your best friend or your sister or your brother or your uncle, cousin, whatever, might be like, no, the painting was crazy, it spoke to me. And they might both be the exact same message, and you guys might both walk away with the exact same feeling, but they were 2 different mediums. So I don't shy away from anything.
That's dope. Do you let me ask you this then. Do you think that people are just born that way, like they're just wired different, or is it people's experiences that shape the way they kind of view things in their perspective?
I think it's both. I think there's some of it in your DNA, like what your parents like, you might like, And it's also how you're raised. Like, if your parents raise you on books, you're going to be attracted more to books. If they raise you on TV, TV is going to be more attractive. If they raise you in a museum, you're going to like museum style work. If they raise you on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, your environment.
Your
kinda
environment,
raises you
yeah,
too.
builds you. And your friends too. Like, if your close group of friends is like every Sunday we're going to the museum, or every Sunday we're going to a skate park, you're going to be drawn to like a skate park vibe, and or a skate park video style. You know what I mean? Like, there's a certain type of video that comes from a skate park.
Mm-hmm.
And then you might like my videos that are shot more like handy cam, running around and shooting and edit it quick and with a lot of cuts, because you were raised on that kind of culture.
Right. Do you think that like you've always had this creative spark, or like what was it when you were a kid that you realized that like you were maybe different than other people?
Well, I always knew colors. Everyone would ask me advice on colors growing up, young, when I was a kid. And girls trusted my opinion more than anything, more than anyone. And that made me think I was like artistic, but I realized I might have a little something when my dad finally saw the Morons piece for the first time and decided to quit smoking.
And you made that for him,
Yeah,
right?
I made that specifically for him, and he saw it, and he decided to quit smoking. And that to me was like, art is powerful. Art can change lives, and I'm kind of good at this.
Wow. That showed you like
oh yeah, like it's possible. And then the fact that he believed in me made me feel like it was possible.
Okay. Digressing a little bit, who are some of the maybe other artists or just people that you've made art for, like more notable people?
There's everybody.
There's everybody.
You name a name, I'll tell you yeah or no.
Okay.
But I don't think it's important that I've made art for them. I think what's more important is like you go through my DMs and you see how many people are affected by the art and emotionally connected to it. I think that's the most important thing.
Okay.
So that's like my favorite thing, more than
the names.
More than the names of people, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what was the other question?
Just like some of the artists that you've collaborated with on work.
I've collaborated with a lot of artists, and just depending on the project and where we click, it's kind of like music. You have to kind of click as people first, and then you can collaborate on something. But yeah, but to me, like I said earlier, like the most important thing to me is going through those DMs, going through the messages, and like, or the emails or the Twitter messages or whatever, and seeing how many people we've affected.
Yeah.
It really like keeps me moving.
That's awesome. What about some of the like countries or cities where your art can be seen?
Oh, my art can be seen in LA, San Diego, San Francisco, Miami, West Palm Beach, New York, Dallas, Paris, London, Amsterdam, Tel Aviv, Hebron, Puebla. There's more, but I'm blanking. But a bunch.
A bunch. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yo, it's fucking everywhere, literally.
We've been around the world. Beijing. Yeah, we've been.
How do you decide like where you put it?
I don't.
You don't.
I let it decide for me.
You're just like, it's going there.
No, it's just like you go with the flow.
Okay.
I used to surf, and if you decided to pick a wave and the wave comes in and doesn't work for you, then you're kind of like cemented on it, then you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
So I kind of learned that from surfing. You kind of let the environment pick for you, and that's what I do when I do street art.
Okay.
And sometimes someone contacts me and there's a big project or something, and that's the reason I'm there.
Damn, you've been to so many places. I can only imagine the experiences you have.
Oh, it's amazing. Like, I love every single one. And Atlanta. I forgot Atlanta.
ATL.
Yeah, that's a big one. I love every single experience, and of course there are some that stand out more than others, Atlanta being one of them. Because that's why I thought about it. It's like one of my favorite places to go.
Why?
Every time we go, we're really brought in with like open arms, and people really, really love us there.
Is that Southern hospitality?
Yeah,
Kinda?
and also like our contact in Atlanta is like the most amazing. They're the most amazing people ever.
That's cool.
So I love going to Atlanta. I always say yes, no matter what. Whenever they call, I'm like, yep, okay, yep, we'll be there.
That's your city?
And they're just super nice. And like I said, I love my contact in Atlanta. Miami, New York, every city, I always say yes. It's very rare that I'll say no to a big project that takes me out of LA. I love to travel. But yeah, I've been everywhere.
What about like out of country? What's one of your like more favorite places?
So the trip to Puebla, the first time, I'm about to go back. We're installing a 40-foot sculpture in Puebla.
Damn.
So that's been 2 years in the making, but the first trip there was amazing. Like, hands down, one of the greatest experiences ever.
Wow.
Just the hospitality, the way they showed us the city, the way they took us around, like really made it like a memorable experience. That was big. Beijing was huge. The same thing, like the hospitality. They took the time. They showed us around. I walked the Great Wall of China.
Ooh.
I went to all the palaces. It was huge, and they're so nice, and I ate so much amazing food. Shout out to Ivan, Yuan, and the whole team. But yeah, every time we travel, we always have a good time, so I'm always up for it.
That's dope. Are there any like memories that stand out for you, like from these places that you've been?
Of course. I walked the Great Wall of China like 3 weeks after knee surgery. That was big.
How'd you make it?
Horrible.
Just limping everywhere?
Limping, like, it was really bad. But I did it. Painting my first mural in Atlanta was a lot of fun. Seeing Atlanta for the first time. London was very memorable. Paris, I love Paris. Tomorrow you tell me, hey, there's a job in Paris. I'm like, okay. It's not even like a question.
What is it about Paris?
I love Paris. I studied in Paris. I love the food in Paris. I love the people in Paris. I love the streets, the colors of the lamps at night, the vibe, the cold weather, the warm weather. I love it. And whenever there's a project that comes up in Paris, everyone already knows I'm going to say yes. Even if it doesn't make sense. Even if I have other projects, they know that I'm going to find a way to go to Paris.
Did you pick up French? You know how to speak French?
Yeah, I speak fluent French.
C'est ambiance.
Yeah. I speak fluent French. So I just love Paris.
That's
London was awesome. Amsterdam was cool. Dallas was cool. I love everywhere. I'm like an easygoing guy. As long as there's an acai bowl somewhere,
Yo,
I'm good.
I fucking love acai bowls. I have to have one a week at least.
Me too. I have Friday. Every Friday I have an acai bowl.
Every Friday.
Yeah,
that's your
my
treat?
thing. Yep. After the week, I'm like about to end the week. It's like my last thing.
It's pretty trendy now too. I'm sure there's places everywhere like.
Yeah, but my first acai bowl ever was in Hawaii.
Ooh, that's OG.
Yeah, right off the North Shore, right off
Damn.
Jaws. I had an acai bowl, and ever since then, it's like my addiction.
Was that like your first one too?
My first one ever.
Damn, you got spoiled with
The first one, yeah, it was crazy. And my favorite part of acai bowls, which people don't understand, it's the bananas that they put on top.
Okay.
The consistency of the banana, like the little bit like room temperature banana with the super cold acai. Oh, that's my favorite.
The bananas are what makes it for you?
Yeah, if there's no bananas, I'm not eating it.
Damn, that's crazy. I mean, it makes sense for me too. Like the toppings, the strawberries, like the granola's got to be right.
Yeah, there's some places like you go to get the granola and it's like what?
Yeah, or they blend the toppings within the acai or something.
Oh no, no. It has to look nice. It has to be presentable. It has to taste amazing. The blend has to be bitter, not too sweet. If it's too sweet, everything else gets flushed out.
Yeah, it's all part of the experience.
I love acai, yeah. And the crunch and the soft and the strawberry. The best thing on an acai bowl, low-key, is the blueberries.
The blueberries.
Because they're acidic.
That's true. It gives you like a little bit of different, like burst of something in there.
Yeah, it's so good.
I really have to get some peanut butter scoop on it too.
Oh, like, I'm not there yet.
You're not there yet?
I'm like the simple OG, like acai, strawberries, bananas, granola. Yes, I don't really care. Yeah, if it's good granola, 100%.
Oh yeah,
sure. And then, like 2 or 3 blueberries, and that's it.
Yeah, some of the acai spots, like I feel like they leave their granola out or something, and it gets stale. So if you're tapped into this and you're like make acais, Man, do it the right way.
Yeah,
Really,
and you don't need
honestly.
to make it too fancy. Like I don't need almond milk and what is it called? Whey powder.
Yeah, whey, like protein or
Yeah, I
whatever.
don't need that in my mix, in my blend. No, I just need the acai, either apple juice or almond milk, and a banana. Like you don't need to go crazy. I don't need whey powder, almond butter. I don't need all of that.
Facts. And it needs to be made with love.
Yeah,
too.
and right, like the right way.
Just sprinkle some love on that
Yeah,
right there.
that is my favorite thing in the whole world.
Yeah, definitely. But outside of art, do you have any other hobbies like or passions that you
Yeah, I
do?
surf. I wake surf. I bowl, basketball, soccer.
That's right.
I just have a good I have a good time.
You have a good time. Where do you surf at out here if you
Zuma,
Which
if
one's
I'm surfing, it's out in Zuma.
out in Zuma?
Yeah, it's about like a 45 an hour drive from here.
Okay.
I like to surf there. It's a bigger beach. Not so many surfers go out there. It's a little bit further. It's a little bit deeper. The waves can be good. It's not always huge, so it's nice. Yeah,
For
I don't like competing for waves. People really like to
It's-
compete for waves. I'm not
yeah.
about that.
It's rough out there. Like, dudes waiting on it. It's like you can't even really. If you get on a wave, like you're damn. You have like 5,
Yeah,
6
and
people.
if someone
that-
got in deeper than you and you didn't see them, and like it's like a whole fight after, like, why'd you steal my wave, you fucking wave jacker? Like, no, I'm good. Zuma, there's not that many people, and it's a huge beach, so you can set up wherever you want.
That's what's up. Zuma.
Yeah.
I gotta check it out then, cause like I just got back into it. I used to surf too, but I got into like a bad accident actually. Where I went out like super early in the morning, so I didn't have to deal with all the people, so I was kind of by myself. And you know how waves kind of had that dip at the end?
Yeah.
I caught that dip, tumbled in the water, and then I was under there for a while. So like, you know, when you're just like under the water too long and you get out and you just like take that big ass deep
Yeah.
breath of air. I did that, and I looked around and I didn't see like where my board was, and the water pressure torpedoed it in the air like this.
Back. Yeah.
I look up and it smacks me in
Oh.
the face. I have a scar right here. It busted this open, knocked me out. The lifeguard found me in the water, bro, like floating. It was,
No way. That's really bad.
yeah, it was like pretty gnarly in surf terms. But
That's really bad.
Yeah.
Man. I've been cut by like same thing. Like you go under, and I went under once. Was up looking around, and the board just came shooting out of the water and cut right through my wetsuit, right through my arm,
like the fin or the
Yeah, the
board? Oh,
fin.
the fin.
right through me, bleeding everywhere. I was like, how the hell did that happen? How did it cut my wetsuit?
Yeah, that's
Sliced
great. That's
right
a,
through my wetsuit.
that's a sharp
A
fin.
4.3 too, like not a baby suit.
Damn.
Right through the suit. I was bleeding everywhere. I had to get stitches. I've had some gnarly surf.
It's the scary part is like you don't know what's underneath you. Like
Yeah, my
man,
brother
that's
has that
nervous.
fear. I go out so early. I'm like, I don't care.
All the fish are asleep and shit.
Like it's like, fucking, sometimes I go out. It's still dark when I get to the beach. I'm like waiting on the sand for like a little bit of sunlight.
That's pretty wild. That's pretty early.
Yeah,
That's cool, though.
but I always surf in twos. I always go with my brother. If he can't make it, I'm not gonna surf.
Why is like just for like safety?
Yeah, for
purposes?
safety.
No, that's definitely like what you should do, because what I did, it could have been bad.
It could have been really bad. That's dangerous. But yeah, I learned that young, like growing up, always surf in twos.
That's what's up. Going back to the art, we're almost done here. We're gonna wrap it up. But what's next for Kai Art? What do you have going on in the near to late future?
So for everyone who likes Kai editions and all those things, we have a hoodie coming out.
Ooh,
It's gonna be dropping right before Valentine's Day. It's specifically for Valentine's Day. I have this pillar I talked about earlier. It's a 40-foot sculpture that's gonna be holding up a building in Puebla. I'm gonna be going out there to install it and paint it.
wow.
That's gonna be awesome. I have a solo show that I'm working on. Hopefully, all the details get kind of cemented by the end of the month for a little show in London. So it'll be my first time showing out there as a solo artist, which will be a lot of fun. I have a museum show at the beginning of February that I'm a part of with like Obey and a couple
Oh,
of big
shit.
names out in Oceanside. I think it's called Oceanside Museum actually. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. Where can people find you on social and your website and everything like that?
So it's simple for my website and my Instagram and my Twitter. It's Kai Art.
Simply Kai Art.
Kai Art, yeah. KAIART.
Okay.
K like kangaroo, A like apple, I like intelligence, A like apple, R like rat, T like task.
I feel like you just came up with that on the spot.
Yeah, I did.
Off the dome.
Yeah, because you know when you call in customer service and they're like, hey, what's your
email and shit?
Oh no, or like what's your email or what's your confirmation number, and you have to be like C S C
Yeah.
S like seal, no, C like cat. Oh, so
yeah, I be getting stuck, bro. Sometimes I'm like, oh, like I'm like scrambling like ostrich, oh, like orange or some random shit, you know?
There's some like I was talking to her and she's like, yeah, you either stick to animals or you stick to items.
Okay, that's a good
And
way.
when you stick with animals, it's kind of easy. And if you keep bouncing around, you're gonna confuse yourself.
That's true. I've been there before. I'm sure people listening have to like.
Yeah, and like you gotta just stick to one.
Okay, so Kai Art.
Yeah,
That's where people find
that's where people find me.
Okay, for sure. Shit. Last question is, what advice do you have for, let's say, there's a up and coming artist, street artists out there, or just any aspiring creative that's listening and watching? What advice do you have for them?
A few things. One, time management. Like I spoke about earlier, there's only so many hours in the day. How many hours of that day are you dedicating to your craft? Second thing is never give up. It might be a horrible time. It might be a horrible month. No one might like it yet. But if you keep pushing through and if you keep giving it passion, anything you love enough, someone eventually will love it just as much as you. Like, think about that. Anything you love enough, if you really stick to it, someone's going to love it just as much as you, and that'll slowly grow. So don't give up. And money isn't the key or the definition of success. Money doesn't make you successful. Just remember those three things.
I love it.
That's
it.
Inspiring.
Shay, I appreciate you inviting me into your studios.
Anytime, man. This was fun.
Yeah, definitely. And dropping so much knowledge on the podcast. And if you guys are listening out there, take a peep at his art if you haven't already. It's amazing.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
Appreciate it.
Thank
you so much for coming.
Yep. Peace. Oh, hell yeah, man. That was a great episode.